That was a big introduction. Thank you very much to Allegra and Rebecca, and thank you so much for inviting me. It's always a pleasure to come and speak at Wired Sussex. Last time I was here, I was talking about being a freelancer. So it's a whole different slide deck, so if you've seen that one online. And I'm hoping that you're going to take away something from today, even if you're in a completely different situation to me. So I run a company called Refigure. I put on major events and build networks to empower people. Let me just take a sip. Who should have worn a jumper on a day like this? It's like rather toasty in here. Anyway, this year I organised The Story, a creative conference in London. I run Spring Forward Festival for the last 4 years running, which is a month-long series of events for women in tech. I'm a trustee for Global Theatre Group, the Marlborough, and until recently the arts organisation Lighthouse. I'm currently working as research lead for the Brighton Digital Festival, and I'm a mentor for the Lookout project for disadvantaged young people. I'm 46, so I'm not going to do a whole CV. This is just what I've been doing in the last year, so and that's not everything that's on there. So I also run She Says Brighton. I've been doing that for about 9 years now. We went from 50 people coming to our events. I say this because when I started it, lots of people said, what do you want to do that for? Why do we need women's groups? Surely there's no sexism anymore. Why do we need women in tech anyway? So I said, well, people keep coming, so I'm going to keep doing them. 150 turned up at the Hilton, and now we get 300 attending our events with 2,000 on the mailing list. So when I started, there wasn't any women's groups, and then now there are, I don't know, you could probably go to 5 tonight. There are lots of different women's groups in Brighton, especially women in digital groups. So the reason I'm mentioning that is because when I started to take myself seriously about what I really wanted to do, that's when She Says Brighton took off. It's part of a global group. It's not my brand, but I put the energy to the reason that we get more people to our groups in Brighton, our events in Brighton, than they do in London and New York and Singapore and Sydney, is because of the energy that's created through the atmosphere that we create at the beginning. So where I began, I was a freelance digital project manager, I'm going to say 25 years now. I had to be really resilient. I was always the new girl, which is really stressful. So I would have to pick up projects really quickly, gain the trust of a team. If you look like me, the people sometimes make assumptions about who you are, what your experience might be. So I would sort of leave my CV lying around and say, well, I worked for, I don't know, big brands. And I worked for some really amazing creative digital agencies. When I was 25, I managed the team that the Channel 5 website, the first Channel 5 website. And I was managing a team of 20 developers and designers and writers. And I also had to keep going up to London to talk to a bunch of executives in Channel 5, as if I knew what I was talking about. And after the first dot-com bubble burst, I thought, maybe I'm not just a really anxious, angry person. Maybe it's the job that I'm in all the time that's creating this, and maybe I should go and train to be a meditation and yoga teacher and go move to Brighton. And I started running meditation events in my spare time. I sort of shrinked my CV. If you had a long career, you start to think your CV is getting a bit too long. People are not going to employ you, so might squish mine up to 5 years of what I'd been doing. And got jobs down in Brighton as freelancers, and I kept all the meditation stuff separate. And then Western science caught up, and I thought there's an opportunity for me to bring those two worlds together. And 5 years ago, I set up a company called Refigure, meditation, self-development, people skills, well-being, mainly women in tech, and helping them proceed through their career. So this is a quote, which basically means people are quite happy to sit and suffer rather than make a change in their lives. And what I've found is that not checking in with yourself regularly and not finding out what you want to do can affect your fear, basically. You start to get scared to leave your job because you think no one's got, or your relationship or whatever in your life starts to affect your decisions. You don't want to change anything because you think, I'm all right, I can just stay in this and suffer, which is no way to live. So the conflict within us starts to affect our external world, and the meditation techniques that I teach help us to be more compassionate to ourselves and others and to chill out. So what I noticed was that I'm not just more happier in my life when I'm meditating, it's just in my everyday life. So I deal with stressful situations better. So I'm just going to show you a couple of, before we do a little exercise, I will just explain one of these things that I use. It's about setting the intent. You can set the intent for your day, so you can kind of have a better day. Things are going to happen to you. If you set an intent that you're going to have a good day, then you might have a better day than if you set up your day to feel like it's not going to be a great day. But mostly I use this in meetings and in events. So if you set the tone for an internal meeting, why are you there? Maybe you can be the confident person in the room and says, why is everyone here? What's the purpose of this meeting? Might help you run a better meeting so that when you go to that meeting again, you won't be recapping on what you're supposed to do in the last meeting, if that makes sense. Has that ever happened to anyone? Wasting time, really annoying. Outcomes and roles, and setting that precedent, if you like, at the beginning of a meeting is helpful so that other people in the room that don't always have a voice can step up and feel like they can participate and play the game of the meeting. If anyone ever gathers in a room, just have a bit of respect for those people that have spent their time, like you guys, you people, everybody in the room, who's turned up and spending time to listen to me. I respect that, and so people should have that idea in their head when they call a meeting. So even if it's not your meeting, maybe check the energy that you bring to a meeting of whatever kind that is, even in your own families at home. So play along with me. I'm going to ask you to do a life audit. There may not be time to do a whole life audit, so let's just focus on our work. Quite often, you don't know why you feel uncomfortable in your job. So an effective way to break it down is to look at 7 different aspects. Oh, I put transitions. Oh, fancy. Salary. Thinking about how maybe you want to list these down in your notebooks, which you all brought with you, and your pens. Salary or business income if you've got your own business. Salary, job title. What do you enjoy or dislike about each aspect? You've been given so many different exercises today. This is one to do at home if you want. Hours, travel time, people you work with, boo, hiss, yay. Type of work, what are you actually doing? And this might seem really basic if you've been working for a long time, but it's always worth checking it. Are you happy with the clients that you've got in this company? The customers? The environment. Have you got a crappy chair? Could you change that? Could it make the difference to you staying in your job? So you're going to rate these out of 10. Don't think about it too much, but just next to it, you should end up something like that. Sorry. So just bringing an awareness to each of these 7 aspects of your job. Things that you actually enjoy, or your work, or your project that you're working on. I get people to do this about their relationships, so, have a go with your job. It's easier. And then you can start to see which aspects need to be improved. It might be that you really love the people that you work with, but the work's become mundane. Or the commute, as a couple of people have said tonight. The job title might be really important for you. At one point in my career, it was really, really important for that I had the word director in my title. Had that, didn't really make a difference to my joy. Salary, the number that is important to you to have is key. So just exploring this means that you're going to might have some feelings about it. So if you have a feeling, oh, nobody's going to get that much in my industry, or I don't deserve that, or, oh, then you can start feeling like, where is it that the pain points are? Like, is that something that needs to be explored? So, taking it a bit further, how's everyone feeling about that? Anyone 10 out of 10 on anything, everything? Great. Then we have something to work with. Okay, so writing a list of all the things you want for your dream job based on these 7 criteria. Now, you're not going to be able to do it all now, but taking this away and working on it, spending some time, giving yourself a bit of space, dream space, to think about what could possibly... look at, I woke up one day thinking, I would really love to do something with women. I know amazing loads of women, great women. Maybe I need to do some events. Maybe I need to put this... I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I just wrote it down and then parked it for a bit, and then it just kind of happened without me even thinking about it later. You know the things that you don't want in your job. I think Rebecca touched on this as well. You can change those into positive things that you do want on your dream job list. So as I said, it's interesting to notice the feelings. Oh, there's no way my boss is going to let me work part-time, or what's it going to take to reach 10 out of 10, or even 8 out of 10 in your list on each of those different aspects. And you can just write the list. Don't worry too much about how you're going to get there. Feel those feelings. Think about the salary, for example, or job title. You might look around and people who are achieving what they want. And then when you start to see your peers doing it, I used to have real issues myself about seeing people who I thought were less qualified with less experience who were running their own companies. And I thought, who's stopping me from starting my own company but me? So dream big and take a bit of action. You don't need to try and fix everything at once. Pick just one of those aspects and take a small action to changing that aspect, even if it's just talking about it with someone. This is a mantra from a guy called Gay Hendricks. He's got a book called The Big Leap. Because once you've started ticking everything off your wish list, or start receiving that success, you can start giving back and making a difference to others on your terms, remembering that when you achieve more, you can help others, and you have every right to have more or a better life. Certainly a work life. If you want more from me, I'm Refigure on Instagram. That underscore is important. Otherwise, you get my other podcast thing that I do. Refigure on Twitter for inspiration. I have meditations on YouTube, and I have them on, if you want meditation, what is it called? With Rifa on YouTube. And it comes out as a weekly podcast as well on all good platforms. And I run Clarity and Purpose workshops. I'm doing another one on the 1st of February, and you can come for a one-to-one session with me. I'd be happy to do a 3-hour blast with you as well. Get cracking. Thank you very much.